But that's so funny. So you'll be sitting down, like, you're just like, I'm a little bored right now.
I'm a little bored. Like things are being like there's been, we're just good, lovey-dovey. I'm like, who's this that? The entire time.
Can you imagine the amount of stress that man must have been under? Like, oh my god, who is this man? Like, wait, I didn't say that before. Actually, that's a good point. Am I doing something off right now? Like, I'm gonna be second guessing. Yeah, that is actually so funny. That's like the first time I've heard somebody actually do. Like, I know it definitely happened. Or like, I'll be like, damn, I know you did that on purpose.
Wait, but that could also tell you a lot about the other person. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe.
Right? If they're second guessing themselves, like, are they to be trusted? All right, next question.
Sam, how long do you think it should take to move on after you've broken up or had a divorce? Where it's like, do you think that there's a time that's too quick and that you really didn't even actually like that person?
So I used to think like there's really a recent situation where I had just started like, talking to somebody, and then I realized they had just broken up. Like they had just gotten out of a serious relationship, like a 5-year relationship, like a couple months before that. And then I'm like, wait, I don't think we should be.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not. They're like, no, I'm over. I'm like, how? So I think, yikes. I don't know if there's like a definitive timeline, but I think there's definitely a period where I think it's a red flag if you've just broken up with them. I don't know. If it was like a fling, I think it depends. Like if it's just they had a little fling and they broke up, okay. But if you were with somebody for like 5 years, it's an extremely serious relationship, and you just broke up, I think that it's a red flag if you are looking to start something serious with somebody else.
And like how many months? You said it was a couple months, right?
It was a couple months. It was like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I think in 3 months, I just don't think is a long enough timeline. I don't know. Maybe if they were like 6 or 7 months, I'd be like a little bit wary, but like a little bit more willing, just trying to start something. But 3 months.
For what about this? What if the person had been? What if that had been festering for a little bit though?
Right.
Well, like, what if they were already out of the relationship 6 months before it ended?
I think still, even in that regard, like even if like you don't want to be in the relationship anymore, I feel like just like severing a tie with somebody who you've been connected with for an extended period of time so closely, I still think you need time to like recover. Like even if like like oof, finally, like in the past year, I've been questioning this. I've been wavering with this. I think that's still like a really big decision to actually split from somebody and to like not have them in your day-to-day routine. I think you need time to just kind of like be single and not focus on anybody else before you're like ready to pursue something seriously. So I say maybe like 6 months, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. What are you like? What do you think?
I think the traditional advice is, it takes half the amount of time to get over someone. Like, if you have 5 years, in this case, it would be 2.5 years for him.
Damn.
I don't know if I believe. You guys have heard of that, right?
Wow, I've never heard of that.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Damn. So you were with someone for 10 years, took you 5 years?
I don't know if I believe in that. I don't know if you ever...
Are you like an 8? No, I guess how does that change?
I really
diminishing returns, maybe, right?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person also. Like...
It also does, yeah. And the situation, right?
And yeah, like, I also think if you truly love someone, I think you will always have some capacity of love for them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? That's actually such a good question. Mm-hmm. Have you guys ever watched this show on Netflix? What is it called?
The Ultimatum?
No. It's the one where like they were on a plane. And Manifest.
I haven't seen
Manifest, where these people go on a plane.
Yeah.
And they like have like this turbulence and they come back and like as soon as they land, they figure out society's a little weird. Like it's a little like things aren't the same. They go back their home. It's in 5 years. Mm-hmm. Right? And so they got teleported 5 years in the future. And some people have like a new husband, some people have like a new spouse. What would you guys do if your partner disappeared for 5 years, and let's say you were with them for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you were just about to get engaged, etc. And like they come back all of a sudden, and now you're with your new love of your life, but you have the old one. What would you guys do about that?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it would depend on how I feel, right? I think it potentially would really halt moving forward with like the current love of my life,
For sure.
but not saying that I wouldn't eventually move forward with them, but it would definitely need to take some time.
Yeah. I don't know what I would probably say I would be understanding, but like that initial visceral reaction of like, what? Like, what? Oh, am I thinking of the person who got off the plane, or
You're thinking about the person who you're the person who is just receiving the spouse back after 5 years.
Oh,
yeah, you're the person who was not on the plane.
I think it would depend on who I met. Like if I met someone that I really, really vibed with, and that
More
made
than the
sense.
first person.
I don't think it's a question of more or less. I think there are actually multiple people that you can be compatible with.
Yeah.
I mean,
say that.
the statistic is like one out of every 600 people or something that have soulmate level potential.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems really crazy.
Yeah.
That's
That seems like too many.
But how many times do you meet like 600 people? You know, like how many times do you like?
What's the meaning? Are you like seeing them? Or are you like actually like sitting down having a conversation with them?
Like out of a random sample of all the people on Earth, 1 out of every 600 people
Can be compatible
with you
if they had enough time together, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's also a timing thing as well.
It's timing. It's, you know, I'm sure there's realistic things to consider, like, you know, language barriers and religion.
Yeah,
and
course,
should that matter to you?
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, it's at a raw level. Yeah.
That is so interesting.
So I feel like logically, it would make sense if I did meet someone for me to move on, but that's like logical, emotional, like would take me years probably. I mean, I love that person, so.
Wow. You know, I think it's a lot easier when you're like also in a relationship. Like right now, like I have a wife and I know, like, you know, there's no shot that I could think about if she left and then came back that I wouldn't take her back. Like I don't think that would be like in my mind right now. It's very hard for me to imagine any other scenario.
Yeah.
Because like, you know,
that's your person.
You know, there's a certain level of relationship I think you get to, right? Where, especially like past marriage, honestly, like that really only I like have visibility into right now. Like I think because it's like when you get that certain maybe like when you get that certain level, it's like it's irremovable.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
How long did that take, you think?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if it's I don't think anything is really a factor of time. I think most things is just about experience, and time is what allows you to afford experience.
Do you think you can get to that level in 2 weeks?
Well, you can't get enough experience in 2 weeks.
You can't get enough experience too.
You just can't.
This is also something that I really am sad about our generation is I think there's, and this is also why I respect you and Kiana so much, is like, I think there's something so powerful about building a legacy. Like when I look at my parents, they're together 25 years since last month.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
They got married when they were 23, 24 in Bulgaria. Like moved here, I was 1. Like my grandparents were like in our household with me. Like they were like waking up at 5 every day, getting back at like midnight. And like they can really look back and be like, yo, we did that together.
Yeah.
And in this age of instant gratification, how many people, I don't know many people that would be willing to like have that end goal in their minds. Like, yo, like when we're 80, we're taking care of each other. Like, you know, we have this whole life that we've built together. Like, and maybe it's just because we're 23, like we're still really young, but I don't know. I really respect that you guys have found that so early on, because I think so much unhappiness stems from us losing that sense of like, it's kind of like going to the gym. Like it's hard in the moment, but like look what you have at the end of the day.
Exactly. Especially when you're consistent with it and you run through every single day. Like every day is just like hitting the gym.
Yeah.
And you got to rep. Like it's pretty painful. You're gonna sweat, but in the end, you're gonna come out looking sick.
Exactly. Like
good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think last thing I'll say, and
please go ahead.
Like I think there are like when I look at things like divorce, like I don't ever want to judge anyone. Like I really like. I think there are situations where it absolutely makes sense, like physical abuse, emotional abuse, infidelity, financial, like whatever. Like, but it makes me really sad to see people getting married so casually and focus on things like, oh yeah, the wedding, and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a wedding.
Yeah,
they don't need. You can save that for a house. Like, sorry, like, and I haven't gotten to the stage of life, so I don't know. But like, I think you forget about the end goal, which is the partnership. and seeing people getting so casually divorced because like the vibes were off, or like, oh yeah, like I didn't feel it. Like, no, look up, like Michelle Obama has this fascinating video where she's on a talk show and she's like, there was a solid 10 years where I like did not like my husband.
That's in her book too.
Yeah, like Becoming, it's so good, you should read it. But she talked about like, why are you going out to golf? Like, I'm here with like Malia and Sasha, like why are you having so much time for yourself? And she's like, I really didn't like I was angry for 10 years too. Like, and I feel like so many people would be like, oh yeah, like, no, I'm getting divorced. Like, and it's just, I don't know what the answer is, but like, I do feel like there's power in staying with someone that you love, admire, and respect as a friend too. So I don't know.
Wow. And so do you think that's what keeps people together when they're going through that pain? And actually, hold on, before you feel like that, like, okay, so looking at your partner as a friend and not just like a, as a, sexual counterpart, emotional counterpart, is what is necessary to stop the divorce rate. Because in the United States, the divorce rate is 1 in 2. And that's a real statistic. You can search that up.
Well, you said 1 in 2?
1 in 2 marriages in the United States.
You guys have been throwing around some statistics that are really surprising to me. Like the 1 in 600, now 1 in 2.
Yeah, it's crazy. 1 in 2 marriages in America have divorce after like a 10-year, 20-year period.
Wait, 1 in 2? So that means like if I know 2 couples,
one is most likely to get divorced.
Like, okay, 2, one of them, like there's a good chance that one of them is going to get divorced.
If there are 4 people in this room, 2 of us probably get divorced.
That's actually
in some point in time, but it's also it's right,
samples. Like New York, probably people are pretty educated and take their time to find people. But
New York would be lower or higher?
That's a
in New York.
Yeah,
I think it would be higher.
I think it'd be lower.
I think it would be lower. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a factor of education though. You know what I mean? Like, I think because like, okay, so my dad actually wrote a book. It's called How to Be Intelligent Without Being Stupid.
Wow.
And it's a very good book. Very, very good book. I actually have a copy. I can even give it to you for free.
Really. That's so cool.
It's basically the concept is like, no matter how smart you are, your emotions can get the better of you, right? And that's because in your mind, it's separated between the prefrontal cortex and then the emotional side of your brain. And so what actually happens is that the emotional side of your brain, actually, it's called the oblongata, I believe, that is actually triggered first before the stimulus hits your prefrontal cortex, which is why human beings are actually more wired to emotionally react before we think about it. That's why people say think about it first.
There's some people, my ex-boyfriend was one of them. He was just such he is such a unique person. But how he's wired, he is way more logistical than he is emotional. So like even a good period of time, like while we were kind of in a stage where we weren't actually dating, we were still friends, but we were definitely more than friends. What didn't allow him to take the next step was because there was always the emotional aspect there. Like he felt that there was the logistical aspect. Oh, like would she be a good future like wife? There were things telling him no. And that part was overpowering.
Wow.
And so even though he felt like strongly emotionally, the logistical aspect of his brain has always been wired logistically.
Wow.
Wouldn't let him move forward.
Wow. This is actually why my last relationship ended. So we were actually from different like religious backgrounds, and like I'm not a really like I'm a very spiritual person leaning towards like religion. I don't practice as regularly. Like I don't practice regularly. But there were like a lot of I don't know how much I want to get to. But yeah, like
very comfortable with. Plus you can
like there was a period where and this is also talking about interfaith relationships. So I want your opinion. Do interfaith relationships actually work? So where I feel like we shared so much on like our outlook of life, like everything that he would believe, I felt like I believed to some level in terms of like respecting people, in terms of whatever, like believing people are good, but like I don't think my family took it very well. At all.
It's not good.
Also a factor of me being the eldest child and like them never talking about relationships with me ever. Like that was never like, oh, like how are you navigating having a boyfriend? Like we never had that dialogue growing up. So I think it was also like, oh my God, Lily's growing up combined with, oh my God, he's from such a different background.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but my point being is that it was a great relationship. I thought we got along really well, but he logically did not think that us being from such separate backgrounds would have worked out in the long run. And honest, like, I don't know what the answer is.
What's his background?
So sad.
He was like, he's Muslim and Sudanese.
Yeah.
So
I also dated somebody who was Muslim. Well, was Muslim, and that was a big factor in our relationship. Interestingly enough, that like played a dynamic into like us moving forward.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it's like so.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No.
I was just gonna say it's so tough because I really believe like I don't know, like I'm Christian, but like I feel like all faiths are like part of like a finger, and it all leads to the same, like whatever, same conclusion. But logically, I think there's a lot that goes into like the practice, and I don't know, biases. And I think we're not at the stage of humanity where we can. I don't know. I hope we're getting there, but I don't think we're there yet, where we can see each other as truly the same, you know?
Well, you know, I think that, and this is like a topic I talk about pretty often too. That's another thing that usually comes up actually in a lot of our podcasts is the interfaith relationships, because they're happening a lot more often as the world's getting more globalized, and you know, cultures are intermixing. People are becoming more comfortable about interracial relationships, and not only that, but their parents are starting to wake up a little bit more, and people are like realizing that, okay, my son and daughter may not marry someone from my background, and so I need to kind of accept that. And so it's becoming more and more of a thing. And you know, what I've been seeing from time to time again is that typically I've seen it not work out. Typically, I've not seen it work, and it doesn't mean that it can't, because all it means is that it makes the relationship a little bit more difficult. And you know, and I agree that, you know, religions tend to have the same underlying context in which, you know, there's a central deity that people believe in that created the world, and there's some sort of kind of salvation story that leads to you being reconnected to that deity, and like, right? And so that does kind of take, you know, it does repeat itself within history, I guess, from different contexts and lens. But where I think the bifurcation is how we get there, like the route there, and certain doctrines that are formulated on that path to getting this foundation. And so I think, and especially when that governs your life, you know what I mean? Like that, those are the laws and principles by which you abide by. Yeah. Right. And also for some religions that believe in an afterlife, like, you know, you have certain things and parameters you need to achieve and get to before you can be in everlasting paradise. Like for me to be with someone who doesn't resonate or align with me on something that is so fundamental to your existence, right? Like, you know, like for me, if you're really devout, like Christian or devout, Muslim devout, you know, and you're very spiritual and religious, but more spiritual, and understanding the doctrine, then like that can really govern you in a very, very real way that makes it, and it's your number one priority. Like you're like, that's your number one priority in life, right? Over your spouse too.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what he said. Is he was like, one thing that I will never not consider is like, I want my children to be Muslim.
Exactly. And that's a whole other thing.
And I don't know why, but
children, like, it's a whole other thing.
I don't know, at a fundamental level, I do believe like whatever, we share a lot, so much of like, because we're one of the 3 Abrahamic religions, whatever. Yes. But like, there was something in me, I don't know why. Like, it was just like, I don't know what it was. I was like, that was where I was quietly stubborn. And he was like, why are you asking me this so many times? Like, that will never change my mind. And I was also like, do I want to be with someone that's this, like, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. But, like, do I want to be with someone that's this dogmatic and, like, not? Because I feel like I'm a very, like, spiritual, flexible, open-minded person. But that was the one thing where he was like, I will never, like, change my, like, I don't know. Which I respect now. Like, I respect it. But I do think it was for the better, and why I appreciate why you said about like your partner was so logical at the time, your ex was, because I feel like I didn't really think about it. I was like, oh, like we love each other, it'll work out. Right. And maybe sometimes it doesn't, and that's something that I've learned. So
yeah, that is sad. You know, every time I hear this occurring, it's sad. And even marriages where people just try to make it work too, it often comes with a lot of like difficulty. It's really stressful. There's a lot of things you don't agree on, especially the kids. Like, you have to take the kids to church, you have to take it to a mosque, right? Exactly. I mean, especially when they're just so different. Like, they're just so different.
They are very different.
So You know, yeah, it's very tough, man. I'm really sorry you had to go through that.
But you know what? I have an optimistic outlook on life because before Love versus Virginia, like interracial relationships weren't possible. Like interfaith relationships were like looked down upon even 50 years in our parents' lifetime, and like now they're so accepted, and you see so many success stories. So I'm very optimistic, and like even though this didn't work out, like it was a great.
And you in that song.
You know, yeah, like it all works out for the best. So I really, really believe in that. Like I really believe.
All right. Let's put a thumbs up in the chat, guys. Put a thumbs up in the chat. All right, for optimism. And leave a comment down below, you know. Is there anything here that resonated with you today? Is there stuff that you feel like you could relate to? You know, share some words with us. You know, some things that you actually want us to talk about as well next time. This has been a great episode so far, guys. Thank you guys for, you know, coming on and talking about what we talked about. Unfortunately, Iman had to leave a little early. But yeah, why don't we end it off with just a couple, you know, last words of wisdom. What do you guys, what are some things you want to leave out there in the ether that you believe people should know? 60-second, 120-second thing that you guys have to say.
I think the longest relationship that you will ever have is the one you have with yourself.
Damn.
And mic drop. Yeah.
Literally.
You need to be so incredibly calm and content with not every day, but like you need to be so content with yourself in the long run that whatever life throws at you, you should say, you know what, Billy, like whatever happens, we've got this. You know, we keep going, keep our head up. Life is an adventure. You meet wonderful people along the way. It's like a gift that you're alive. You have your health, you have great relationships, job, etc. And even if one of those things falls down or all of them do, like you still have yourself. And I just think it's really important to remember that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That was good. That was good. Really good.
I would just say, guys, we are all the main characters of our own movies, right? And we all have different storylines. And, you know, yeah, just continue on. I feel like we're all figuring this out together, right? We don't have the answers, even if you know, single right now, you're in a relationship. I'm sure there's always like things that like you just don't know the answer to. And where I feel like I loved being on this show today and just talking to you guys. I learned so much. You know, we're always learning, we're always growing together, and just kind of keep on with that. Wow.
Wonderful.
Great.
Wonderful. All right, well, you heard it here first, guys. This has been great. Thank you guys again for coming on. Look, we do this every week. Sundays at 6 p.m. is when we drop. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. You got to learn about relationship insights. It's important, guys. It's important, all right, that we know how to navigate modern relationships. There's a lot going on that we need to just better understand. So, yeah, without further ado, this has been Relationship Status. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.